Larry tried to kill me.
Yeah. I was so thoroughly disgusted.
I mean, think about it. Why does it make you special to do what you want?
Packers jumping around. They rush 4. Plenty of time for John. Now squeezes, steps up in the pocket. LA can run inside the 10. Head first. He dives off the 5-yard line. My goodness.
Rushing 4, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground, and it's still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line.
There's also Brian Clady and Bob Miller. 3rd and long 3. Going deep. Oh, and he's got Thomas. Goodbye. Touchdown.
Here we go. First snap of the overtime. The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Got him at the 40. It's Thomas at the 50. Stiff arm got him 3 to the 30. To the 20. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on the New England. They win it on the first play of overtime.
I hurt myself today.
That was perfect. You
This
should have kept going.
This is how we feel. I feel like
You should have kept going. That was beautiful.
Oh, that was.
it's just
Was that the Johnny Cash version, or was it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. I think there is no other version, to my knowledge. It was also sad because he was about to die, just like Broncos country. That's currently where we are.
Sir,
at.
the Johnny Cash version is a cover. Just FYI.
I'm fully.
FYI. You live
Patrick,
in Seattle too.
I'm fully aware that it's a cover. Doesn't mean it's not
Shut your
better.
mouth.
Doesn't mean it's not better. There are some songs that are just better as covers. I swear we're going to talk about the Broncos, but I don't want to. You know what I mean?
I don't really want to either. Let's talk about some draft. Let's talk about some draft prospects.
Oh God, let's do something else.
I'm joking. We can talk about some awful things that are going on in Broncos country.
Oh, good evening, Broncos country. This is the 5280 podcast. We got Mr. Boggins. Mike is out today under the weather. Cam claims he's under the weather. I feel like he's going to meet Matt Rule at the airport.
He says he has COVID.
Yeah, right.
I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, right.
No.
HIPAA does not apply to the 5280, which is good. We have Coach Chiotti in the house. He stopped decorating his tree just in time to hop on with us, which is great. So thank you for that. We have Johnny Cash, Boggins. We're going to set up a GoFundMe to pay his heating bill, apparently. So
it's cold. Okay. Some of y'all listen. I live in the basement of the wife's parents' house, and the father likes to save the heating bill by putting the heater on a timer instead of just when it's cold. So it only turns on at a certain time. So I'm suffering, is what I'm trying to say. Not just because our team is hot garbage, but because this is the way my life is right now.
It's hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
So I'm under the impression that Broncos country has lost their collective minds right now, with some of the hot takes that are going around, and I think we'll certainly welcome any comments in the chat. But Pat, 3-8, 4th in the AFC West. We just lost. We got blown out in Carolina.
Yeah,
where are you at right now?
I want to say I'm checked out. I want to say that I am just looking on to the off season. I want to say all those things. However, there's still a chance that this team could finish above 500, win 6 games in a row, just rail off 6 games.
Rail 'em.
But the likelihood of that happening is slim to none. Where I'm at is I'm pretty much in the same boat as everybody else. I'm confused. I'm a little distraught. I'm saddened by a lot of the things that are going on, and overall, like, I'm just really disappointed. This was a season where we came into it thinking, you know what, we're quarterback away. We got a new coach. He's going to come in with all these great ideas and these brilliant schemes, and he's got a great coaching staff around him. And oh my God, we got Russell Wilson in the bag. It's not the case. So I think the confusion is, where did it all go wrong? What is the problem? And my biggest question right now is not, who are we going to take in the first round of the draft? That's not my biggest question. My biggest question is not who's the next coach of the Denver Broncos going to be. That's not my biggest question. My biggest question is, who are the guys that are still going to be on this team next year, and who are the guys that are going to want to come to this team next year? Because of all the things that we've heard from Seahawks players and coaches and writers and fans and all that stuff, why would anybody want to come to the Denver Broncos when Russell Wilson is here? There's players inside right now that are talking about not returning to the team because of what is going on. And that is where I'm like, I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm confused. What is going on? Where did this whole idea of culture and, rebuilding everything go to lead us to this point? That's where I'm at.
Do you think this is all on Russ, though?
No, absolutely not. I don't think that this is all on Russ, and I think the majority of it isn't even on Russ. I think that there's things that can both be true, right? The one thing that can be true is Russell Wilson is a diva quarterback in the NFL. He is a very attention-seeking person who loves to have the limelight on him. And then there's also just inept coaching. And both of those things can be true. I do not think, though, that all of these issues are on Russell Wilson. I think that there are major things that Russ can do to play better. I think that there's major things that he can do as a player on the field and in the locker room that can change a lot. But I don't think that this is all on him. Before the season, we all remember the press conference, right? We all remember Nathaniel Hackett coming in, pumped up, juiced, fired up, whatever adjective you want to use. And then the first thing that he said that really struck me was, we're going to base all of this on outside zone. How much outside zone have we run? Because it's not a lot. And I can tell you right now, it is not a lot. It's not a lot. And that was my biggest concern going into the season with backs. Like Javonte could be an outside zone guy. Melvin Gordon, not an outside zone guy. Never has been, never will be. Not an outside zone guy. And people fought me on Twitter about that. Oh, he could play in any sit. No, he can't. And we saw it, and he threw away multiple games. And then on top of that, you put all the injuries and stuff together. It's just been a mess from the get-go. So my biggest confusion is just like, where did it all go wrong? Like, what was it? I don't know.
Yo, Broncos country straight up has whiplash. Like,
for real,
we came in to the season so excited, like so much change. We came from so much sadness, and we changed it all. Like, new ownership, crazy, awesome. New coach, awesome. New Russell Wilson. What? You kidding me? That's nuts. You hear the little things about, like, you know, I coming from Seattle, you hear little things about Russ being, you know, kind of cheesy, whatever, maybe a little bit of a diva, but that like got exemplified when he came over.
Yeah.
Like, he just started doing even more cheesy stuff where it just kind of like became like just nothing but national media.
Mm-hmm.
And you get real annoyed with it, and you're like, but that's fine, because he's going to produce. He's going to go out there and he's going to be at least top 15 QB, and that's all we need, because we know we're going to have a good defense.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, Russ doesn't know what his reads are still, it looks like. He can't see the middle of the field, which is something that everyone talked about coming into it. And it's funny because, like, the scheme that he could be best at, which it being under center and using play action to pull the safeties in to get single high as much as possible. Well, the problem is when you're shorter, the center is the hardest to see at, and you're now closer to the line than if you were back at shotgun. I mean, how much did Drew Brees start out at shotgun? A lot more. He had a little bit more room to move back. It's not happening. So what Russ is good at, he's worst at. And now you have Hackett coming in here who can scheme receivers open. Okay, occasionally.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And so you got this battle now that they don't want to probably admit, because, you know, I'm sure both of them are frustrated.
Yep.
And then you get these situational play calls that are just absolute trash from Hackett. So now Paton eventually was like, you know what? Nah. Kubiak, you call the plays. So you see a little bit better, but then Russ is still also a factor where it's just absolute trash.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets hurt at the same time. So it's just like a combination of so many things that at this part, you're just kind of like, you come into it like, yeah. And then you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
It's actually trash. Yeah. So now we are all kind of just in a daze, I think. I think Broncos country as a whole is just like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I don't think any of my opinions are validated outside of not good, because there's so many things that we can argue about what the issues are. And it's just, man, it's a weird place to be. Like, even if you're a Texans fan, you know your team is hot garbage, but you know potentially a rebuild's coming, and you're going to get some high draft picks. You're going to do some cool stuff, maybe see what's down the pipeline.
Don't have a rapist on your team anymore.
Don't have that. Yes. Well, unfortunately, we still have Russ until at least 2025, and I know there's people that are talking about the potential of getting rid of him. That's going to be rough when you do.
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to do that, the best case scenario is going to be trading him, and at least maybe like catch some of that dead cap, like pass a little bit of it off, pass a little bit back of the contract, maybe make some deals, and maybe get some draft capital out of it. But you're still going to be eating a lot of cash. Yeah. And it's, oh man, I don't know anymore.
Something that Mundungus actually put up. Still calling Hackett's playbook, and that's the problem. That is the problem. That's a big part of it. Injuries and everything. Injuries happen in football. And this was the big thing that I was having to, discuss with people on Twitter today, with my whole tweet about Mike Munchak, which that's a whole other thing that I'll get to in a minute. Injuries happen in football. It's part of football. There is no scientific way. You can lift, you can eat, you can stretch, you can do all the types of yoga and Pilates and whatever the fuck you want.
Get grass instead of turf.
Yeah. there is no scientific way to 100% prevent injuries in the sport of football. There's no way. It can happen on anything. It can happen. Guess what? It can happen without you even touching somebody. Wild how that works. the whole issue with like the injuries and the scheme and the playbook and all that stuff, it trickles down, guys. It's a trickle down effect, and it starts at the top. It starts at the very top. It starts with Nathaniel Hackett, and then it works its way down. If you want to go even further than that, it starts with George Paton. George Paton, from the top down, it goes down. The coaching decisions that were made this offseason, there were some that were good. There were some that we thought were good that we're looking back at now. We're like, maybe not, Hackett included. And then there were some that were just mind-boggling. The one that was mind-boggling to me was not retaining Mike Munchak.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about, our offensive line needs to be better. Russ is the most pressured quarterback in the league. Surprise, surprise. He was the most pressured quarterback in the league in Seattle. He's the most pressured quarterback in the league in Denver. What's the biggest change that the Broncos organization made to their offensive line in the offseason? It was letting go of Munchak.
Yes.
Right.
And we saw glimpses of it too this season when Garrett Bowles was healthy. He had that, I can't remember which game it was, but he had like 2 or 3 holds, like really, really bad holds. And it was like, oh my God, we're looking at pre-Munchak Garrett Bowles again.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting to see how much of a decline that is, right? When like you're just like, oh man, Garrett Bowles, and then you're like, oh man, Garrett Bowles, and then like let's get rid of Munchak. Oh.
Yeah, and then you look at the regression of these guys, and I know people are gonna say like, oh well, one coach doesn't really make a difference. Yep. Yes, it does. It literally does. When your offensive line coach is not teaching proper techniques or teaching different protections or teaching things in the film room that they can do or pick up better, you are going to fail. There was a tweet that was just put out. The Georgia offensive line ran for 264 yards without IDing a mic. And they picked up stunts, they picked up twists, they were pulling. That is elite level coaching. That is what good coaching can do to an entire unit, not just one guy. All 5 of those guys have to work in unison. All 5 of them. The old saying is you've got 11 guys on a football field. If one of them isn't working, the other 10 fail. Same for the offensive line. When the offensive line is not cohesively working together and fixing technique, picking up blitzes, picking up protection calls, you fail. And that is what we're seeing. The run game is non-existent. Boggy, you said it before the show. Our DVOA and our rush is in the negative. I don't know when the last time it was in the negative. No. I really don't. I looked at our adjusted sack rate today, and we're like 3.4% higher than we were 2 years ago. 3.4% higher. It's ridiculous.
You know, Pat, you mentioned Munchak, and not only is his presence felt or missed on the offensive line, but actually just on the whole coaching staff. You know, one of the things I referenced on the neighborhood is I feel like there was a pact maybe like between all the buddies that the first one that got a real job would then bring everybody on, you know, and I know the intention was originally to bring the offensive line coach from Green Bay in, you know, getting promoted to offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But why Munchak was allowed to be bounced before that was finalized. And so we settle for Butch Beard. I mean, Munchak lives in Denver. Here's a guy that actually took the job after he was passed over from, you know, the Broncos for the head coaching position.
Yeah.
And did an incredible job and had Hall of Fame credentials as a Hall of Fame player and incredible credentials as a head coach and a positional coach. I don't understand that. I mean, they should be pulling up to his door and just kissing his ass, begging him to come back.
He was the highest paid offensive line coach in the league.
Yeah.
For a reason.
I don't know why you get like, when has he hasn't slumped like ever. I don't know why you would.
He had those couple, I mean, When he was the head coach in Tennessee, like even then they won some games that were
like as the head coach, yeah. But when you have him as an offensive line coach, you don't get rid of that. Like
I mean, look at that Steelers offensive line when he was their coach. I mean, like one of the top running games in the league.
Top offensive lines in the league for how long?
For years. And I mean, and you look at our run scheme, and everybody's like, well, they got rid of him because they wanted to run the zone blocking scheme. He ran zone blocking scheme in Denver. He just didn't run purely outside zone. And guess what? We're not running outside zone. So why didn't we keep Munchak? I don't understand. Like, if you're going to run a mix of gap and power schemes like we've seen, like the majority of leagues do, why are you going to get rid of a top position coach? It just doesn't make sense to me.
I will say that I know that there are some hate going on for George Paton out in the Twitterverse.
There is.
I am very confident in every decision he's made, except for in the coaching. The coaching decisions. I think a lot of it is hindsight now, where if I was hiring a GM, I would go not necessarily. I mean, you as an owner, you kind of have to go off of product a lot of the times, but you also have to go off of how like educated decisions, like right, because you don't know, like anything is luck. Like you go based scouting is luck. You go based off of what you
really is,
like educated guess. And you hope to God that they produce in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, same with coaching. I mean, he's obviously scouts very well and has been very good at that so far. And it's just like what he missed for sure.
Yeah.
The Russell Wilson. We were talking about this before the pod. 99% of Broncos country was like,
oh yeah,
like
we all were. We all were.
Like. And
here come the 3 Super Bowls.
Go back like, oh my God, what a dumb diffusion. Like I can't. You can't. No one saw that amount of regression happening. I don't care if you saw, like, we know that Robbie was talking about like some of his decline, and that's for sure. For sure. He had like a slight
he's been battling injuries too.
Yeah, exactly. But not to this extent.
No.
Like this is like historical decline. This is Hall of Famer to like, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
It's like,
I think
unfathomable.
That's a great question. Do you think he's still up there for a Hall of Fame, or do you think he's so damaged at this point he's got to work his way back in?
I don't think you can look at his body of work in Seattle and say that he's not a Hall of Famer. I do not think that you look at his body of work in Seattle and say, no, this guy doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. Even with the sacks.
I honestly can't say I know what a Hall of Famer is anymore.
Joe Namath is a Hall of Famer.
Well, like
Troy Aikman is in the Hall of Fame. What is a Hall of Fame?
Marcus Ware wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. A Gradishar isn't in there. Like,
oh God, not even.
Calvin Johnson got in after 9 years in the NFL. Like, don't get me wrong, I think he's the best receiver of all time. Fight me on it. But still, like, there's like
in that puffy coat.
It's like all over. You can't because you punch it and it just orbit.
It just like
it just yeah. You don't know where my chest begins.
The jacket is Dome Depot.
But yeah, man, I don't know anymore. It's hard not to get on here and just straight up complain about our team now, because like I do. That's the thing. We love the Denver Broncos. That's why all of us are here. We absolutely love our team, even in these tough times. But my God, is it tough to watch?
Here is a $1 million question for you guys. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys
$1 million after the question.
I'm gonna give you guys 3 choices. Okay, which former Broncos quarterback would you rather have right now instead of Russell Wilson under center? And here's your choices.
You're gonna say Trevor Siemian, aren't you?
Trevor Siemian, Jake Plummer, or Jay Cutler. And I'm talking like like
Prime.
06, 07 Jay Cutler. Like, that's a tough choice.
I mean, if we're stacking it up to this season versus his normal, what are our expectations? I mean, I'd probably have to say Jake Plummer, but I'm not sold that Russell is not going to bounce back next year. I think there's so many factors that are here. So out
of those three,
given those three, I got to take Jake.
Jake's like,
I'll come back to the Russell being better next year.
I'll come back to
that.
Could he be worse?
I mean, honestly, like I said before, you said it.
It could be very bad, Glenn. It could be very bad.
Not so.
We're
bad.
averaging 10 points a game.
I might go Simeon. I
wouldn't be mad at that.
I think he could. No, I think Simeon drove the car.
He played quarterback.
That's
Trevor Simeon played quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, watching him play, it was like, oh my God, this is the most West Coast outside of Alex Smith. I was like, this is the most West Coast quarterback that we have probably ever seen. It's like, he's not going to take the deep shot. He is only going to take the underneath, and he's going to hammer. And then, oh, look, that ball just went 30 yards.
Kyle Shanahan all day.
He was Jimmy Garoppolo before. He was less handsome Jimmy Garoppolo.
Hey, there's some people out there, you know who you are, that are very into Trevor Simeon. Okay. And
is that a breed shot?
Yeah. I mean, I would, because I think Lindsay. I think honestly that Trevor Simeon would be able to run this offense better. Yeah. Like, people talk about Brett Rippon and they wanted to see what he would do out there. And honestly, Trevor Simeon is a better Brett Rippon. So he would be able to like get the ball there a little bit more, made quicker reads. I just think, I don't know.
Jake Cutler would be fun to watch in this offense though. Oh my God.
With Tim Patrick, yes. Tim Patrick, yes. I don't right now. I don't see that as much.
Jeffrey Bryan said that Plummer's style fits better in this NFL, and I 1000% agree. If we were running the system that we are supposed to be running, which is like a very similar offense to what Green Bay is running, Jake Plummer might be an MVP candidate. Maybe. I
honestly don't want Jake Cutler in our locker room. That was my biggest.
Well, yeah. No, Jay. No, the smoke of the cigars alone.
I'm tired of it.
Not the cigars, the cigarettes. The smoke of the cigarettes alone would be just insurmountable.
In the Instagram butt pics. I as far as the Russell Wilson thing, about him being better next year, Google it,
Greasy.
Bing it. I don't know, man. It depends on who the OC is, but if you watch some of the all 22, some of the stuff is like, what are you looking at, my guy?
Yeah.
It's almost like he panic, looks at his first read or maybe not his first read, just in the flat, and just like doesn't even wait for routes to progress at all. And he has the time or step up.
And this is the thing too, is that, when we're watching all 22, and we can always make assumptions on like, oh, he should have looked here, yada yada yada. I want to know from Hackett, what's the progression of this play?
Yeah.
What is he supposed to be looking at? That's what I want to hear. Forget what Russ was looking at. I want to hear from the coach's mouth.
Yep.
What was he supposed to look at?
100%.
Because there's things like when we all saw the video of him in training camp, of him, he would throw the ball and then he would go boom, boom, boom. That's him working through reads.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that now? because I don't know what he's looking at. Boggy, you hit it right on the head. I don't know what he's looking at. There's multiple times where he'll do a quick scan. Oh, dump it off.
Yep.
I'm like, bro, the post just came open in the middle. The dig just came open in the middle.
That Cortland Sutton dig, you're just like that video that I think Frankie put out, and you're just like,
he's like,
I honestly have no explanation for this. Because he's also I'm pretty sure that's his first read. He literally pulled the backer down, literally had the safeties pull, and had that dig wide open. So, I don't know how that's not, especially when he's looking directly there.
Yeah. If it was a Mills concept, which that's what it looked like, your main key is that safety. That's your main key. And the safety took the post.
Yep.
Once that happens, that's an automatic throw the dig. It's automatic. It should be engraved into every quarterback's head. Okay, post is gone, dig's there. Or dig is gone, post is there. It's just not there. It's not happening. And I don't know whether it's Hackett. I don't know whether it's Russ. I don't know what the problem is, but it needs to be figured out. And from what we're hearing from everyone else, it's a little bit of a combination of both of them, right? It's a little bit of it's Hackett's playbook, which I totally agree with. Like the scheme is just not anywhere the same. And then there's Russ is calling his own stuff, which I could also see that being a thing, but I don't know. There's just so many moving parts. But Boggy, to your point of him getting better next year, Russ has no clue who he's going to in the ball snap. That's a problem. That's a problem.
You actually might get your answer, Pat.
Yeah.
Because Hackett is starting to blame the players more and more as the heat gets turned up on him.
Like
so he may
always. I feel like he's always had some side-eyed way of like doing that. You know what I mean? Where he like somehow shifts the blame just slightly. Like this last presser, he came out and he was like started off with that it's like it's all on me. Like whether, but he's like, but right after that, he goes, it's all on me, whether or not, like even if the players aren't executing correctly or whatever, you know what I mean? He had to put that little, get that little in there, just to let you know, like, even if they're not executing correctly.
So anyway, Pat, ask Boggins.
No, you're fine.
Sorry about that.
So to the point of him getting better next year, Ryan Edwards did put out a tweet that was, I believe
positive,
it was
probably.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan's always and this is why I love Ryan. He's gonna be real. He's gonna stay positive no matter what. But he's gonna be real.
Broncos Twitter's Papa. You know what I mean? Everybody comes like, Papa, tell me it's not gonna be okay. It's gonna be.
And if you come at Edwards, you best believe you're gonna get some heat.
Yeah.
But he put out a tweet that was comparing numbers of past quarterbacks in their first season in Hackett's system and their second season in Hackett's system. And it was Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan. And both of those guys had really, really poor first seasons in the system. And then they exploded in the second season. I am not on the team of let's keep Nathaniel Hackett. I'm not. I'm done. I don't think anyone is. The coaching decisions that he's made, the personnel decisions, the fact that he let Melvin Gordon continue to get carries. Oh no, they've done it now. Look at what you've done. You've gone and done it now. You've really gone and done it, haven't you? I am all for keeping some things. What I'm not all for is the coaching decisions. And we roasted Vic Fangio for years. We roasted Vic Fangio for his bad time management decisions, for his personnel decisions, for the coaching hires that he made. We killed him for those years that he was there. And now we're seeing similar things happen with Nathaniel Hackett, really big head scratchers. I there's just no way. But with those stats being out there for Rodgers and Ryan, do you wait and see? I mean, the Eagles did it, right? The Eagles did it with Sirianni. It was bad. It was really bad. And people wanted him gone. And they stuck with him. And they built around it. And now, it's not bad.
Yeah, but like, even those stats were not as like close to Russell Wilson right now. Russell Wilson has 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like Matt Ryan had what, like 20 or something?
He has 8 touchdowns. Okay.
I don't know. Pat. Oh, he has the you're going to say the total touchdowns, the rushing one. Yeah. Okay. Get out of here. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care. Quarterbacks are meant to throw the ball, not run the ball, Pat. You know that.
Hey, what does the hat say? All right.
You know I can't read, son of a.
Run damn ball. Nate, listen, if you're watching this somehow, if you're bored in your office watching film, okay, turn on a little YouTube, maybe want some instrumental Christmas music because Christmas is almost here. Okay, and you stumble upon 5280 podcast. Okay, this special message to you: run the goddamn ball. Run the damn ball.
Like, well, though. But they can't because they don't have Munchak.
Listen. Jacket's
gone. Oh my gosh.
I talked to Quinn Miners today. And I said, Quinn, listen, you big son of a bitch. I need you to step it up.
Yep.
He's like, I'm trying, doing my best. I said, no. I need you to run the ball. I need you. Listen, if Russ calls a pass, nope, we're running.
Just go back. You give it. You have Mike Purcell come out, slap Russ across the face, and give it to Quinn, and Quinn will run it up the gut.
We don't have a fullback. Put Mike Purcell in there. He'll scare the shit out of Russ and make him
activate Moody and just have him just do that. I mean, perfect example. We had 3rd and 1. We were down, I believe, by 2 touchdowns, and we did a pass play instead of. We have Latavius Murray. Mike saw him in person when he was there for the Raiders game, and said he was like, almost the same height as Glasgow. It's like
he is. Yeah, he's listed at like 6'2", but he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's a big dude.
Why you're not going to hand that off to him and you're going to throw a pass? I mean, who's calling the?
Yeah,
like it makes no sense. But run the damn ball in that situation for sure.
Yeah, and I think going into next year, I depending on what they do is with the coaching staff and everything, it's really going to be predicated on what is the combination of coaches that are going to make Russell Wilson a better football player and make this team not only like better from the inside out, because clearly, culture is becoming a problem. There are many players who are very upset about the Bradley Chubb trade, just like there were players who were upset about the Von Miller trade last year. But the reality was Russell kind of caused that. He kind of put them in a situation where instead of being 8-3 and not really needing the picks, now they're 3-8, and now all of a sudden the need for picks became more urgent. Are you going to pay a guy like Bradley Chubb when you can, you're all of a sudden becoming strapped on the salary cap, even though you have the richest owner in the NFL and the salary cap isn't even that real? I don't know, but Russell Wilson's poor play is a direct result of, or it was a direct factor of the Bradley Chubb trade.
And what's a direct factor of Russell Wilson's bad play is that we just got flexed out of Sunday Night Football.
And I'm a little upset about that. I'm going to be at that game. Now I'm going to have to drink earlier in the day. Which is
you were still going to drink earlier in the day. You were just going to be more drunk for the night game.
I was planning on being blackout at the game. to suppress the feelings that I was going to have. But now I'm going to have to be in the midst of being blackout during that game. And that's just going to be a really bad combination for everybody.
And then you're just going to wake up at like 6 and then realize that you still have like hours to go before you can sleep.
The good thing is that I get my Sunday night back. That's the great thing is now I get to enjoy downtown Denver with all the other depressed Broncos fans, while my wife is out there parading in her Travis Kelce jersey.
Oh.
Yeah. So
with hanging out with Mario, I'm sure, right? So.
Pat is. I think.
Yeah. No.
I will be. Yes, I will be.
Well, Lauren grew up a Chiefs fan, so maybe she'll talk to your wife about that. But
I hope not. Yeah.
All right. So a couple of things with that. Do you think the Broncos having so many national games early on has really has really helped in the national narrative about how bad we are just because people witnessed it firsthand? Or do you think
I think it's a combination of that and like what Boggy was saying earlier with, just all the cringy stuff that he does. I think that is really what it boils down to is he's just this strange person like outside of football, who just like the things that he does, you're just kind of like, okay. But they're, looking at it from another perspective, everybody has their own personality. Everybody has their own view of these big time celebrities' personalities. And we've seen, the Mr. Unlimited and the commercials and the promo videos and stuff like that gets leaked out. But what's not ever really talked about is the other things that he does. I mean, when he was in Seattle, I think it was every Tuesday he would go visit the Children's Hospital. The first day that he was in Colorado, he visited the same hospital that my stepbrother was at when he had cancer. I mean, this is first day. This first day he lands, and now he's done it every Tuesday that he's been here. Why are those things not being talked about? We can make jokes about Russell Wilson as a goofy person all day. We can make jokes about him as a football player all day. But when it really boils down to it, I think that this is a guy who he wants to do a lot of great things, but he's just so like goofy and like I feel like Russell Wilson is a huge nerd and nobody's like talking about it. But it's like you kind of see little glimpses here and there. But I think I think them being on the national stage so early and like his really poor performances in those games. I mean, like the Chargers game, I always think back to the Chargers game because like I remember seeing a highlight. It was the day I got married. I remember seeing the highlight of him throwing that ball to Dulcich, and like my friends are texting me like, oh my God, Russ is 9 for 9. Like, what is going on? And I'm like, oh my God, we turned it around. And then, it flattened out. But I do think that those performances really just kind of put the nail in the coffin. Like it was all the other stuff added in. Someone said it started with Let's Ride. Yeah, it did. But then at the same time, what if he says let's ride and then we start out winning those close games instead of losing those close games? What about then?
I was waving a let's ride towel opening day. It's like,
oh yeah,
it's
Boggy, how did we feel on the opening day?
Yeah,
how did we feel?
Oh, I mean,
before or after?
Yeah,
before or after?
During. What were your thoughts when you saw all those seconds tick off the clock when before that before
my honest thought was this might be the first time my wife gonna see me fight someone. That's and I didn't want that. I didn't want to see the dark side. I didn't want her to see the dark side. I didn't want to see
an old lady.
No, not this time.
No.
No.
That was at the bar the night before.
Oh,
and
wait.
she was a
I don't think Glenn knows about the stories.
Did she fist bump you?
Should we tell that story? Do we have time? Let's tell this story. Okay. Here's how this goes.
The fist bump.
My wife is sitting right. Don't bring up the fist bump. We're not going to talk about the fist bump. My wife is sitting over here shaking her head because she knows what's about to come. So we're sitting in this bar in Seattle, and it's a Broncos bar. Didn't even know that existed. It was crazy. Steve Atwater was there. It was nuts.
There were people that were there.
What's his name? The team president was there.
Yeah,
Like
Miles was there.
Yeah, Miles was there. Like, it was insane.
Other media personalities were there for a little bit.
So we're at this bar, and we're sitting at we're standing at one of these, like, it's like a bar length table just in the middle of the bar. And Boggy, Alec, I'm sure who we all know, and I were just standing there chatting. And this woman is standing across from me, and she's very, very intoxicated, just very visibly intoxicated. And in the middle of our conversation, I'm like looking out of the side of my eye, and I see her drinking a Coors Light, crushes the bottle with her hand, or the can with her hand, still beer in it, and just chucks it right between Alec and Boggy.
Yeah.
And I mean, Boggy probably had the best view of it because, like, he matrixed. The thing was like going right by his face, and a bunch of beer spills all over the table and goes into our beers, which were much better than her Coors Light.
Trash.
And Boggy doesn't say anything. Alec doesn't say anything. My wife is in the middle of a conversation with someone else, and so I look at her. She doesn't say anything. I look at her and I say, "Hey, you need to apologize. You need to apologize right now." She's like, "For what?" I was like, "You just threw your can in the bar. Don't do that ever again.
Yeah.
You just spilled beer all over all in our drinks. Don't ever do that again." And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry." She walks around the table, puts her arms around me, and says, "Oh, I'll buy you all new drinks." I said, "You need to get your hands off me right the F now."
Yeah.
And I put my hands up as to show my wife, "Look at me. I'm being a good man.
Yeah.
I'm being a good man. You're touching me. You need to do something about this." She didn't do anything about it. And this other guy that was sitting next to her, who was not affiliated with her, was just like, "Thank God you guys said something." I'm like, "You could have said something. You could have said something." She was throwing drinks, being belligerent. And she kept saying, like, "Oh, let me buy you drinks. Let me buy you drinks. Let me buy you drinks." And I was just like, "No, we don't want your money. We don't want your drinks." Yada, yada, yada. I had to, like, push her away and be like, "No, you need to get away from all of us." It was bad. It was a bad time. Boggy got touched in places that I cannot say.
Were you wearing the black tank top? Is that what got her to come around the table, or?
I was just being my normal self.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what got her.
Yeah. But
Wait, who touched Boggy? Because
the lady
went around.
She touched her.
She did go to him. Okay.
She touched her.
She did go to. What do you mean she did go to him? Don't question.
Well, it sounded like she went straight to Pat.
Didn't she give you? Well, yeah, because
I'm like, and Pat's like pretending he's choking, and she's.
I'll just say she held on to the ball more than Melvin Gordon.
No.
All right.
Speaking of which,
I thought it was a good one. Anyway, she's not living.
Yeah, and then her like boyfriend or date or whatever like came up and apologized and stuff. He was also blackout drunk. But Seattle was a lot of fun.
We pray for
but yeah, watching that game in Seattle and the excitement that we had going into that game, it was crazy. And the letdown, like the missed opportunities that we had in that game, it wasn't even so much Russ.
No,
like Russ actually played a fantastic game against them. And it was like what the touchdown to Tomlinson that got called back, that one hurt. The Javonte fumble, that one hurt. The Melvin fumble, where have we heard that one before? That one hurt. And then who was the other? There was another tight end who dropped a touchdown. Was it Alberto?
I think it was Thomason. Oh, yeah.
No,
Thomason.
that dropped it. That dropped the touchdown.
Was it Salbert or Tomlinson?
I might have been Salbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been Salbert.
You know, I don't even blame Melvin on that one because it was 4th down. So he had nothing to lose with trying to reach that. You know,
he
so
can
the one time.
But
yeah,
no, he still needs to hold on to the ball.
On.
There's no excuse, Glenn.
No,
no excuse.
Listen, the worst case scenario is he gets called up for the Bronco game and runs 200 yards. I mean, and doesn't fumble a thing.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
Best case scenario is that he fumbles it and Simmons grabs it and runs it back for a touchdown.
I just want Draymond to do it.
Oh, that would be good.
I want Draymond to do it. I want Draymond to look Melvin in the eyes as he's running back. Say, this one's for you.
Grab him by his hair and just like drag him with him.
This one's for you. Yeah, that's a large man. Don't mess with him.
Cool. Well,
anyway. looking ahead for Sunday, in the closing moments of the show, thoughts?
We're playing a game on Sunday. That's my thought.
Yeah,
we're playing football. Do we have to?
Yeah,
do we have to play? Lamar Jackson is playing. I know that.
Yeah.
The cornerback, Lamar Jackson, he's playing.
It's just weird. I don't know if like I feel like Broncos country is dead enough now to be like the rest of the season. It doesn't really matter who we play. And now that it's like the tail end is so hard, like that we haven't even played the Chiefs yet. Not even one time.
Yeah.
And they are a Super Bowl favorite and the Ravens are good. And like it's just like I don't know anymore. Yeah. Like we're gonna go into it and be like, I love my Broncos, not right now.
Yeah. I mean, after seeing the Carolina game, you know, it's always Broncos to sacrifice the get right game. Yeah, that's true. And I thought Carolina was going to be the get right game, to be completely honest. I mean, you got Sam Darnold, who hasn't played all season. He's coming in. You know, Russ has the opportunity to go up against a defense that is, you know, less than ideal. And they just shit the bed. And like, that was like, I was really just hoping that we were going to be like, okay, like, let's put some points on the board, you know? And the fact that we couldn't even do that against Carolina was really disheartening. I think going up against Baltimore, you're basically just going to have to stop the run, force Lamar to throw. And that's no easy task. You're going to have to run the ball against Baltimore. You're going to have to run the ball against Baltimore. And that's not an easy task either. So I'm at a loss for words. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Who are you going to, who's going to be the guy? Who's going to be the guy to step up? Because it's not going to be Russell Wilson at this point. And if he's so all about this winning culture and yada, 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 show me. Shut up, and show me. Play ball.
What does he need to do to show you? Describe that.
I need to see efficiency on the offense. I need to see him making the correct reads, and I need to see him moving the offense in a direction that works, whether that is taking the play calls and calling something else, or just taking off and doing what you need to do. Show me that you can lead an offense, because right now he's not showing me that he's worthy of leading an offense. It doesn't seem like he's making protection call changes. It doesn't seem like they're doing it doesn't seem that they're doing a whole lot of, this season does prove that Tim Patrick is our true wide receiver one. I mean, Patrick has been the biggest miss for me so far. That's the one guy that, you know, I was really disappointed that he got hurt. I had just talked to him like a couple of days before he got hurt, and he was so excited and he was so happy, and that was the third down guy, you know. The drops and all that, that's not great, but like Russ has to be putting the ball on these guys and leading the offense down the field. You cannot keep taking the checkdowns every single time. You take the check down when your first 2 reads are gone. Forget the third read. Don't worry about the third read. Don't worry about the clear. Stop worrying about the check down so early. Work your first and second progression, and then you look at the check down. If the check down is covered, or if there's someone trailing the check down, take off. Go. I literally tell my quarterbacks, every quarterback that I have coached, you get 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, that ball is either gone or you're gone. That's it. 3 seconds. 1 second to look at the first read, 1 second to look at number 2, 1 second to check your check down. If it's not there, go. Get out. Why are guys like Lamar, Jalen Hurts, even Dak Prescott, why are they so good in these different types of offenses? Because they know when to take off. They know when to go. And Russ used to be able to do that, and he was really good at it. And now injuries might be a big concern there. Offensive scheme might be a big concern there. Protection might be a big concern there. But you have to do something. Be a leader. Take control of the offense. Take control of the offensive line. Tell them what you need and go from there. That's what I want to see.
Marcus, you want to add to that?
Not really.
Unlimited.
Unlimited. Yeah. I just need to see, like, I mean, I don't even know if I need to see consistency. I need to just see something. I need to, like, we were talking about DVOA right now. His DVOA is worse than Zach Wilson and Kenny Pickett. Like, what?
Not good.
What do you do?
And Zach's barely played this year. I mean,
like,
really.
What do you do? I don't know, man. I kind of just at this point want to get through the season and just get to the offseason and figure something out. Something's got to change. They need to have a come to God moment because they need to all sit down and figure out what the hell they're going to do. Because if we are really going to do this with Russell Wilson till at least 2025, we, one, have to surround him with whatever it is. It's tricky because whatever it is he needs, whatever he feels he needs, and whatever he actually needs, because I don't think he will come to terms with the fact that he is trash right now. So I think he needs to realize that he's trash right now and be open to being able to mold himself in a way that will be successful for this team. And I really hope that happens. I don't think it's going to happen against the Ravens. Would
this Broncos team be better off with Aaron Rodgers right now rather than Russell Wilson?
I've thought about that, and I really don't think so. Actually, I think we'd be in a similar position.
Honestly, probably. Probably with Hackett, because I think
with the line.
He's like one of the quickest. He gets rid of the ball.
I mean, yeah, and that was the big thing when this whole debate during the offseason was going on. Oh, who would you guys rather have, Rodgers or Wilson? I was very, very much so like, give me Rodgers. And what Boggins just said right there. There is nobody in the league. Yeah, there's nobody in the league anymore who is better at the, we need some quick yards. They're playing off coverage.
Right.
Hey, here's a little signal. I'm going to get this ball out now. I think Drew Brees was probably the only other quarterback in the league that was like just as good, if not better, at that than Aaron Rodgers. I think that this team, even right now, with Aaron Rodgers and all the injuries and everything that's going on, he's dealt with horrible lines throughout his career. Horrible lines. Terrible lines. And he has still produced.
So you're probably right. The familiarity with the offense as well would play a huge role in that. But
yeah,
no, that's a good point. Listen,
It just needs it.
Russ
there
has
needs
to
be a
know,
scheme
right? I
change.
mean, he has to understand that he's really sucking, because I mean, his whole demeanor in these
Oh,
press
he knows.
conferences is completely different. So
Yeah,
I want
he
to
knows.
see him ragged though. Like I want to see it like I want to see him so broken down that it just clicks and he's like, I can't do this shit anymore. And he's just like as normal, like just be like he just becomes like this normal dude that's just like, yeah, it's bad. I don't like I gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
Like just be completely honest. Then I think everybody else will be like, okay, instead of all
Okay.
this like political, like the way he's talking is just so.
I
like,
will say the one thing that I really do admire about him throughout this whole thing is that no matter how many former teammates or former coaches come out and say these negative things, he is always just like, well, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Turn the other cheek. Like
right.
he could easily give us all the tea on Pete Carroll.
Except for Eli Manning. He went off. He got Eli Manning back.
Last
he
I
did
checked,
get him.
Richard Sherman hasn't had a great last 18 months either. I mean,
yeah. And I mean, he like the way that he's taken this criticism in stride from the outside sources.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the inside sources, the outside sources that he's taking criticism from. The way that he's handled that is masterclass. It is professional. It's exactly what you want. Again, like speaking of what I said earlier about him, like as a person, he's a good person. He really is someone that you would want to be your quarterback. You know,
yeah.
we look at people like Deshaun Watson. I think the only other person that I would really like love to have as my quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Just the way that he operates himself off the field is phenomenal. Like he is literally just about his business and like I'm gonna get it done.
Justin Herbert.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You know I have a soft spot in my heart for Justin, but I mean, yeah, Herbie's another guy who is very professional to the point, like just doesn't really take, you know, if Aaron Rodgers was our quarterback, we'd have to be listening to him every Tuesday on the Pat McAfee show. We'd have to deal with apparently all these 9/11 conspiracy theories that he has now. And it's just like, you
ever feel like Pat McAfee regrets that? Like he thought he was
absolutely
like,
not. Are you kidding me?
He thought it was like, he's like, oh, I get Aaron Rodgers on. And now it's just like, well, I guess not.
He's
he doesn't regret that at all.
the money. Yeah. He is getting all the money but anyways,
weird crap on my show.
Yeah, I think
when Pat called him throw Rogan, that was the best.
Oh my god. yeah, that is pretty accurate. But I mean, you know, just going back, like I think that Russ knows that he's not playing well, based on certain things that I've heard from sources. He knows that he is part of the problem. He knows that he is a big part of the issue. But really it's in his court. Like figure it out. You're not playing well. Figure out what you got to do. Otherwise, maybe it's time to pull the plug. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Pat, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's great to see you again, and I love the insights.
Oh,
and especially that story about Boggins almost getting, you know, canned in the.
Well, you know, there's a reason why Boggy hired me as his personal security detail. So,
the Cavs.
Yeah, it's the Cavs.
Anyway, well, thank you for joining us at the 5280 on the MHRT Network. On Monday nights, we have the Cluster Puck podcast, which is an Avalanche-based podcast. Tuesday nights, obviously, we've got the 5280. Wednesday, we have the Wild Wild West, which has fans of all four AFC West teams. I'm sure they all thought that they were going to be battling out for first when the season first started. So those fans are feeling the same way. But that's a great show. Richie does a great job on that. And then Friday night, we have Broncos Breakdown with Bronco Bill. All the shows are live. Sunday, we'll have the neighborhood. So we'll be doing some live chat during the Ravens game. And, you know, join the chat, make some comments. We'll be happy to put them up there and And if the Broncos are doing poorly, it helps us helps the game go a little bit faster. But
You say
anyway,
real.
I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to be optimistic.
Real quick before we get off of here,
For sure.
I think about now we're just talking about Pat McAfee, and
Mhm.
I feel like now Pete Carroll is like doing his best Lou Holtz impression over in Seattle. He's like, well, looks like I wasn't lying when I said Russell Wilson was a big piece of crap. I tried to tell y'all that he wasn't as good as he was making himself out to be, and you guys just wouldn't listen.
God damn it. I knew it was coming.
I called the run play in the Super Bowl, but Russ changed the play at the last second and pulled the ball out and threw it, and he threw the interception. I know.
Can't talk to him without like 30 minutes without him going in Lou Holtz.
Oh, it's so perfect, though. It's so perfect. Well, anyway, if Mike and Cam are watching, get well soon, and we will see you next week.
Hey, we're still here.
And we're still here.